Welcome crafters, Michelle here. I have my top 10 fall wreaths for 2025. This is a great mixture of different wreath techniques and different materials to create these 10 beautiful fall wreaths. This video is intended to get those creative juices flowing and get you thinking about fall crafts. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make them. To get started on our fall wreath, you're going to need one of the tinsel witch hats that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. They just call it decor. Now these arrive in stores when they get all of their Halloween signs in. To prepare this for our base, you need to remove the bow and the buckle and then remove all of the tinsel. They usually start right up here and then you just easily go back and forth all the way down until you remove everything off the base except for the hanger. You want to leave that. Now here around the top part of the hat, you need to go ahead and remove all of these little plastic nubs. They'll get in the way when we go to wrap our base. I just use my wire cutters. They work very well and come right off. I have all of the nubs off, and I did remember to leave my hanger on my form. Now on my hats, I like to stuff them. I have some packing bubble wrap here. I have 2 sheets that used to carry signs, so that would be 4 pieces. I just lay it down on the bubble wrap and then roughly trace it out so I can cut it out. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used in today's project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it will also let you know where I purchased the materials. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use to add a little bit more girth to my top hat here. But before I do that, this is the material that we're going to use to cover the top part of the hat. I did get it from Dollar Tree out of the Crafter Square section. I thought this was so pretty. It has deer, mushrooms, acorns, some greenery, butterflies, little bunnies, all kinds of really pretty, and I love that dark blue background. Now 1 fat quarter from Dollar Tree is plenty of material. In fact, you can cover 2 hats with 1 piece of material from Dollar Tree. As you can see, that's plenty. You could cover a whole nother hat on the other side. Now to prep my material, I'm going to go ahead and iron it and remove all of the wrinkles. I have my piece of fabric ironed out, and like I said, this is big enough you can cover 2, but I'm going to use part of it to cover the back of the wreath this time. So I have the wreath laying on here, my frame, and I have it facing up. And then I'm just going to trace out the top section here with my pen. And now I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to cut on the inside of the line I made. Okay, so I have my piece. This is what I'm going to use to cover the back once I'm done. Okay, so you can see my piece is going to be plenty big enough to cover the top portion. Now before I add my stuffing here, I'm going to attach part of my fabric. I'm going to attach it to one side here. Now my pattern has a right side. You want to make sure that it is facing in the correct direction. It wouldn't look very good if all of my pattern was upside down. So just keep that in mind if yours has a right side. Now to get the fabric attached, I'm just going to be hot gluing it right to the frame. Just do small sections at a time. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube will let you know every time I upload new content. And I do upload new content to my channel every week. Now when you get to where your hanger is, you need to snip a little hole and pull it through. Another good thing is to remove excess fabric as you work. You only need to leave like 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Now let's get in our stuffing. Now this side that has the curve is more difficult to wrap than the other, and the hint that I'll give you that makes it much easier is when you get to the curve, take your scissors and cut in. Go down about 1 inch, cut in. Don't go past this point. You want to stop just before that. But do just a few cuts just in the fabric. That's what's going to make things a lot easier for you to wrap this side. Okay, as you can see, you got a nice smooth wrap all the way to the tip. Now before you add your backing, just make sure everything is glued down nicely. And just line it up and hot glue it down. As you work your way up, do a little bit on one side and then go and do a little bit on the other. If you try to do one side all the way up, you may end up over pulling and then not have enough on the opposite side to cover. I have my backing on. Make sure you don't glue in your hanger. You want to leave that out. So that looks nice and clean both from the front to the back. So this would be great if you have a glass door that you're going to be putting this on. This is a perfect wreath for that because this looks nice and clean. And then when you get the mesh on, you're not going to really notice the frame there from the back either. Okay, so let's get our ribbon ready to go onto our wreath form. These are the 2 ribbon that I've chosen for this. And as you can see, this one matches our fabric very well, and this accents it very well, that navy and white check. Both of these came out of the fall section, and they are 2.5 inches at 3 yards. You want to cut each ribbon into strips at 10 inches and dovetail both ends. I have all my ribbon cut. I was able to get about 11 pieces. I'm probably only going to need 10, but it's always nice to have an extra one. I also pulled out some orange mesh tubing and some brown mesh tubing that I had in my stash. I want to cut 9 pieces of each at 20 inches. I have all my mesh tubing prepared. Now I'm going to work on my mesh. I have 1 roll of the Poly Pro Mesh waterproof ribbon. This comes from Hobby Lobby. It's 5.5 inches by 10 yards. You will need 1 roll. We're going to cut the entire roll into strips at 7 inches. I have all my mesh cut into strips at 7 inches. We're going to be doing the curl method today, and we're going to be making 2 different bundles. This is our first bundle. It has 2 curls and then 1 of each piece of the mesh tubing. I think that's really pretty, and that's going to accent my other bundle really well. That also has 2 curls in it and then 1 piece of each ribbon. I like that extra little bit of orange. It really makes the orange in the ribbon pop. So for our first bundle, you want to do 2 curls, and you just want to make sure that you don't do your curls too tight. You should roll about 4 times. If you do it too tight, your end is going to stick out, and then you're going to end up with a lot of fraying. Take your seam side and place it down. I'm going to be using my bow dabber today to help me. I like to use this machine when I make bundles. If you don't have a bow maker, you can always use a clip or just hold it in your hand if you have good hands. Just find the center, and then you're just going to make like a bow. Bring the ends to the center. Place that in. Do the same thing with the orange piece. Take a pipe cleaner that's cut in half. Wrap that around. Get it nice and snug and give it a twist or 2. I like to pull everything down. This lets me know that I am in the middle. Everything is relatively even on both sides. Very pretty. For our second bundle, again, 2 curls. And then 1 of each ribbon. I always like to style my ribbon bundles a little bit before I put them onto my wreath. Kind of open up, give them a little bit of shape, make sure they're going to be able to sit the way that I want them to once they're attached. Just kind of open up, curl out the top. Very cute. Now to get these attached, we're going to be attaching everything to the center bar here. Now they do have crossbars, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. So we're going to be placing about 3 bundles per section. I'm going to start with this one. And I want this first bundle to be right on the edge there. On my hats, I like my corners nice and full. Okay, I'm going to trim my pipe cleaners a little bit. They're kind of long. And then I'm going to push those forward. And I'm just going to alternate between my 2 bundles. So I have it wrapped right around that bar, pull it together and give a good twist or 2. That is looking so pretty already, and that's just 3 bundles. Okay, I'm going to continue to add my bundles until I get the base filled. I have all of my bundles in, nice, thick and full. I love the ribbon and I love the mesh tubing with that neutral background. I think it looks fantastic, especially since that ribbon matches the fabric I used so well. Now again, here at the top on my fall wreath, as I did with my Halloween, I'm going to add a little something something. So I had one more piece of ribbon left that was about 12 inches, so I cut that in half, dovetailed the ends of all 4 pieces. And so I have one of each, and then I have a piece of each tubing, and then one more each of the ribbon. And this little guy I'm going to attach right here at the tip. Initially, I'm just going to wrap the pipe cleaners on here, and then I will go back and hot glue it on. Doesn't that look cute? I really like that. Now I do want to add a little something more to this. I picked this up from Dollar Tree. It had a little eyelet at the top, so it's like an ornament. I removed the sticker on the back. They have a couple different characters to choose from, but I really liked the fox and I liked the orange. I want to add a little bit more orange, and I think he's going to look adorable. I want to stick him in off to the side here, so he looks like he's nestled in at the top of the hat. Now to get this guy attached, I'm going to use a combination of Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and some hot glue. Absolutely adorable. I love the fox. Now I also am going to add a couple mushrooms. Now these I actually picked up at Dollar Tree, and they came out of the fairy garden. So this one came out of a different package, and then this one. And I like that one's taller and one's shorter, so I want to put the taller one here, and then the shorter one next to it. So it's kind of like a little surprise when they walk up to your door. You won't be able to see it from a distance, but when you walk up to the door, you'll be able to see it. Again, I'm going to attach this with a combination of Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and hot glue. And here you go. We are all done. I absolutely love the addition of the mushrooms and the little fox. That really draws your eye in, and all those beautiful colors throughout the rest of the wreath. How gorgeous. Nice and fluffy. So it took about 8 items from Dollar Tree and 1 roll of deco mesh from Hobby Lobby. So this is a very budget-friendly fall wreath. Something a little different and unique to hang on your door to welcome the fall season. A beautiful fall harvest hat. Let me show you how to make this beautiful deco mesh fall wreath. For today's fall wreath, we're going to be using the 18-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some pipe cleaners cut in half. And then you're going to need 2 rolls of 10-inch by 10-yard mesh. This I picked up from Hobby Lobby. This is their Polypro mesh ribbon. This is weatherproof, and it regularly retails for $11.99. I only buy their mesh when it comes on sale. It's usually 40 to 50% off, and that is when I stock up. I have 1 roll of my mesh out, my frame, and my pipe cleaners. To get this started, you want to scrunch your end and add a pipe cleaner. Now we're going to be doing the bubble method today. This is basically the same motion as the poof method, except you add more bubbles to each section. Then you want to take that and attach it to one of the crossbars. Feed it from the front to the back. Give a couple twists. Push your ends from the front to the back and push them back through those pipe cleaners. And then twist them down again. You want to make sure that's nice and secure. This will also make sure the ends stay to the back of the wreath. And then I just kind of pull my pipe cleaners together and I push those forward. Once you get your mesh on there, you're not going to be able to see that from the front. Now you want to grab your mesh and pull. We're going to measure our bubbles at 8 inches. And then measure out to 8 inches, pinch, add another pipe cleaner. The first bubble we're going to be attaching to the center bar and the inner bar. Wrap it around. Pull your pipe cleaners together, give a good twist or two. Pull together and push forward. Move your bubble over. Grab again, measure at 8 inches. Pinch, add another pipe cleaner. This next bubble is attached to the center bar and the outer bar. My sign is very large and long. I want to make sure that my wreath base is nice and wide so it can stand up and hold its own to the size of the sign that I'm using. So then push that over. By going on either side, when you go to open that up, you're going to have a nice wide, thick base. As you add your bubbles, just push them over. Now between the two crossbars is a section, and in each section I'll be adding 10 bubbles. So I'll have 5 that are attached to the center bar and the inner bar, and 5 that are attached from the inner bar to the outer bar. So I'm just going to continue this and work my way around the wreath. One roll should cover 4 sections. A great time saver is to measure out several of your bubbles, then go back and attach them. This makes the process go much faster. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used in today's project. Okay, I have one roll of my 10-inch by 10-yard deco mesh onto my wreath. I've gone in and opened and kind of separated them out. Looks absolutely beautiful. No fraying at all from the mesh with this method. Here on the back you can see I've been alternating between the center bar and the inner bar and the center bar and the outer bar. This makes my wreath base nice and thick and wide, exactly what I'm looking for. My base is complete. It is nice, thick, and full. And I did use 2 full rolls of the 10-inch by 10 yards. But look at how pretty. Absolutely no fraying with the bubble method. Now this is the sign that I'm using today on our wreath. These came out this year for Dollar Tree. They have 2. This one that is in kind of the reds, green, oranges. More traditional. They also have one that has the blue tones. You never know what you're going to be able to find in your store. But I love this sign. It says, "Hi there, pumpkin," and has the cutest little scarecrow. So here on the back I attached 2 pipe cleaners. I hot glued them on. I also added some ribbon. They've set up and they're perfect. Now when I attach these, I'm going to make sure that I attach them to crossbars on the back. So I will attach them directly across from each other on the crossbar. And all you need to do is separate your mesh and feed those pipe cleaners through the mesh until you can get it to the wire frame. Go right around your crossbar, pull snug, and give a couple twists. Trim and tuck your ends forward on your pipe cleaners. The sign is on, it's nice and attached. I like that. Now we're going to add some ribbon tails and a nice bow. So we're going to work on the bow next. I'm going to be using my Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. These are the two ribbons that I've pulled out. I think they're both very pretty. They came from Dollar Tree. You will need 2 rolls of each, 2.5 inches at 3 yards for $1.25. So let's start with our bow. I'm going to use this really pretty green burlap ribbon you can get from Dollar Tree. I don't want my tails too long, so I'm going to measure them at 8 inches. Pinch and twist. That's my tail. Now I'm going to start making the loops for my bow. And let's see, I'm going to go about 4 inches. And I'm going to make 2 loops on either side. Now I'm going to move on to this really pretty ribbon. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Measure my tails at 8 inches. Pinch and twist. And then I'm going to make 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. Measure your tail at 6 inches. Make 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. I'm going to do the same thing with this ribbon. My tail's at 6 inches. 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube will let you know every time I upload new content. And I do upload new content to my channel every week. I need a full-length pipe cleaner. Lift up all your ribbon on one side, slide that down underneath. Always push my ribbon down so it's snug and then lift out. That's going to help keep it all stacked. Make sure that you're in the center, wrap it around and pull to the back. Pull down your tails, open up your loops. If you have any issues of them not laying correctly, go right down to where they come out and open that up. That'll usually take care of the problem. Okay, so I think I'm only going to pull my long tails down. The others I'm going to mix in with my loops, and then I will trim them a little bit shorter. Okay, so just play with your bow, open up your loops, spread them out, and arrange them to however they look right to you. Okay, so that's all nice and opened and fluffed out. I will do my final arranging and trim my tails once I get it onto the wreath. I have the bow on. I trimmed all my tails and fluffed it out. I'm really happy with that. So cute. For our ribbon tails, you want to cut your ribbon into strips at 12 inches and dovetail both ends. You should be able to get 9 pieces of ribbon off of each roll. My ribbon's all cut and I have some pipe cleaners cut in half. I always like to put the solid ribbon on the bottom. And before I put my bundles into my wreath, I like to style them out a little bit, make sure they're going to lay the way I want them to. So it looks like a little bundle of ribbon. I will make 9 of those for our wreath. I'm adding in my ribbon bundles, and you just use your pipe cleaners. Once you decide where you want to place it, just move the mesh over and attach it to the wire frame. Now you want to move your ribbon bundles around. You don't want to place all of them on the outer ring or all of them on the center ring or middle ring. You want to move it. When you get down near your sign, because your sign is longer than the wreath, just slightly, to help blend that in, you want to place a ribbon bundle on either side, a little on the outer part of the wreath. That way that'll help blend that in and you're not going to notice that the sign is so big. So on this one I placed my bundle on the outside. Now this is way on the inside. So this one I'm going to place kind of right in the middle. Go down and attach it to that center ring. Just take your pipe cleaners once you have it attached and push those back forward. You don't want anything sharp on the back of your wreath. Then just lift up and adjust your ribbon. So on this side you can see outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside. That way I have a nice distribution of my ribbon bundles. He's looking so adorable, but we're not done yet. I found this pack in the plus section at Dollar Tree for fall. It was $3 and you get 6 feet. I thought the color was perfect for our wreath. Let me get this open. Okay, now I'm hoping, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. So if I can get that back in there, perfect. Okay, so to get it off of the rope here, just be gentle and remove the stem, kind of roll it. You don't want to remove much of that orange because you don't want to see the white. And then just take the rope off. And then we'll glue it right back in. Make sure to get good contact with your deco mesh. Aleene's Original Tacky Glue will take 24 to 48 hours to fully set up. You do not want to put your wreath outside until it is fully cured. So just work your way around your wreath and add in your pumpkins. Just change the angle that they sit as you move around. I have all my pumpkins in, and I did use every single one. Some there at the top, throughout, and I put one kind of hidden down here at the bottom. And I really like that, and I feel like it's not quite done. It needs one more item. So I'm going to add some of these really pretty sunflowers. The sign here has sunflowers in it, and so does the ribbon. So I think this is good, and I like this color. You just want to cut them, leave a couple inches of a stem, and then when you place them, add glue and make sure that they are nicely nestled down inside the mesh so that they get a good attachment. And I like to take a set of leaves and push it all the way up near the top so there's just a little bit of greenery sticking out. I'm going to add a few of the sunflowers. And here you go, we are all done. I got the one stem in and then added just that little bit more of orange that I needed. I think it is very pretty. Now this finished wreath is about 25 to 26 inches in diameter, so it is nice and large. Perfect for your front door. Now, if you are going to be putting it out, I would spray the sign with a clear coat of spray paint just to make sure that that is a little bit more weather resistant when going outside. But I absolutely love this wreath. Everything except the mesh came from Dollar Tree, making it very budget friendly. Fall ribbon wreath made using Dollar Tree materials. Let me show you how to make it. To get started on our fall wreath, you're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. This one happens to be silver, but you can use whatever color you can find. And then you're also going to need a couple packages of their decorative nautical rope. This is 9.5 feet in length. I removed the tape on this end, and then I added a little bit of glue in there and twisted it so it doesn't come apart. Now here on our wreath form, we're going to be wrapping the two inner bars here with the rope, and we're going to do that all the way around the inside. So I usually pull one end in for a little bit, and then I'll just wrap that. It's so much easier to use a smaller piece of rope. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used in today's project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it will also let you know where I purchased the materials. Just continue to wrap those all the way around. Whenever you hit a crossbar, just tack it down onto the crossbar. I have my two inner rings wrapped with my nautical rope. I'm really happy with that. I love the rustic feel that that gives. So now let's prep our ribbon. For my outer ring, I'm going to be using these two ribbon. Both of them I picked up at Dollar Tree. They are 2.5 inches at 3 yards for $1.25. I did pick up several rolls. I'll let you know at the end how many you're going to need. On these two ribbon, I want to cut them into strips at 6 inches. And when I do a lot of the same, I like to fold them like this so it makes it easier for me to cut. Measure 6 inches, then you fold over itself. Then just continue to fold over itself. No special tools are required, and this makes it so easy, especially when you have really nice sharp scissors. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube will let you know every time I upload new content. And I do upload new content to my channel every week. On both of these ribbon, you want to dovetail one end, leave the other one flat. For the inner ring here on our wreath, I'm going to be using this gorgeous new ribbon that I found at Dollar Tree. And Dollar Tree has beautiful fall ribbon, whether you get the same ribbon they had last year or the new ribbon that came out this year. It's 3 yards for $1.25 at 2.5 inches. Cut your beautiful fall ribbon into strips at 6 inches and dovetail both ends. I have my ribbon cut and I'm starting to attach it to the inner bar. You want to make sure the nice side of your ribbon is facing outward. Okay, so I just pull my ends together, make sure I'm in the center. Add a little bit of hot glue in the middle. Pull it together, and then I just grab those ends, I kind of push it over. You should scrunch it till it's about 1 inch wide and then fluff it out so your ribbon is doubled on your inner ring. Okay, I'm going to work my way all the way around the ring. When I'm done, I'll let you know how many rolls of ribbon you're going to need. I have my first row of ribbon on. I'm really happy with that result. Now, I put about 7 ribbon per section, so it took about 3 rolls of ribbon to do that. Now, I'm just starting to add the ones on my outer ring here. And as I add these, I'm not going to scrunch them as much as I did the ones in the front, just a little bit. And I'm going to alternate between my plaid and my plain. Now the reason why I only dovetailed one end was because that allows me to adjust however long I want that. So I want it to show from the front by about 1 inch. If you want it to show more, just pull it out further. But I was happy with it showing about 1 inch, so I'm going to do the same thing, find its placement, add a little bit of hot glue right there on the form, fold over, and then just scrunch a little bit. And then just continue adding until you make it all the way around the wreath. Then you get that nice little frame all the way around the edges. Now don't worry about this opening here, we're going to take care of that. Now if you run into an area where you hit a crossbar and you want to place in a ribbon, just take the back part of your ribbon and cut it. That way you can feed it right around your crossbar and fold it over and glue it down. That way you won't have any excess space. I have all of my ribbon on. Look at how pretty it is. I love that neutral background with a little bit of the stripes. I think it helps set off this beautiful pumpkin ribbon. Now let's go ahead and take care of this area right here. And I have another piece of rope. This is one package. This rope is a little bit thicker than the other rope. And that's what I'm going to use to fill this in. Take off the tape here. Now I want to start this at a crossbar, and I'm initially going to glue it to the crossbar, and then I'm going to glue it to the rope that's next to it. If you're unable to find any nautical rope at your Dollar Tree, you can always use chunky yarn that you can pick up from Walmart. You can use it either in white, off-white, or in orange, whatever matches the ribbon that you've chosen. Now I have my space filled in. As you can see, I decided to go around twice. And I really like that. It makes it look so rustic with the rope in the center. Now right here is the crossbar where I started and ended. That same crossbar here in the back, I put a loop. That's going to be the top of my wreath. And now let's go ahead and embellish this. I picked up one of these really cute little pumpkins. They're just calling these wall decor. They are $1.25. The pumpkins come in white or this really pretty orange, and I like the orange. It's not too bright. It's a little rustic. It comes with some beads there and a tassel. Now I like the beads at the top, but I don't really care for this. Everything is stapled on the back, so here I'm going to cut off the bottom section. And then these beads I'm going to feed them on the top here because I need my pumpkin to hang down a little bit further. The wall decor also comes in a leaf pattern, both orange and white. So if you would prefer to use the leaf, go right ahead and use that. Whatever you can find in your store. So I have my 4 beads on there. And now I'm going to hang that in the center. Flip this over. And I want the beads to come up right to the rope part, because that way you can see the pumpkin will hang in the center. And I'm just going to hot glue this on the back. Now while I let my glue set up, you're also going to need a package of the Fall Wreaths. If you already have one, you can choose whatever one you want to use. Any of these will work. They have a Hello Autumn, a Hello Fall, a Welcome Fall. I'm going to go with the Hello Fall. I like the font on this one. And we're going to attach this onto our pumpkin here. So I don't want it to be white because everything's not very white, so I'm going to use Apple Barrel Khaki. I just need to get a good coat onto my word. Now while my word dries, I'm adding 2 of the tumbling tower blocks to the back of my pumpkin. When the wreath is hanging up either on a door or on the wall, I don't want this to freely move. I want this to rest against the door so it lays flat. And this is going to help me do that by adding these blocks. And I'm attaching them with Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and some hot glue. Now we're going to get our Hello Fall attached. I did go back over it with some dry brushing with a little bit of white. When I put it down, it was just a little too dark. This way it stands out a little bit more. And I'm going to attach this with the Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and a few drops of hot glue. Perfect. Now the last thing I want to add is a bow. And I pulled these 2 out for the bow. This is the same ribbon that I used here in the wreath, and this is what was left over in the 3rd roll. And then I also grabbed a roll of Dollar Tree's faux burlap. This also comes in their fall section. And I just made a basic bow. Now this is a basic 2-loop bow in the orange and a basic single loop bow, topped on top of each other and then wrapped in the center. If you do not know how to do basic bows, I have a great video for you. I will link it at the end. It'll teach you how to do these bows and give you lots of ideas how to make hand-tied bows. I'm going to place this right here at the top, and that's going to cover up that little bit of mess from my rope. And that will hang down. I think that's going to be gorgeous. I'm going to use my pipe cleaners here. I'm going to move my ribbon aside and feed it around that crossbar. Then take those ends and tuck them back forward. You don't want anything sharp on the back of your wreath. And there you go, we're all done. I got my bow on. Aha, I think it's the perfect final addition. Let me back out for you. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? A beautiful rustic ribbon wreath for fall. To get started for this project, you are going to need one of these square wreath forms that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. Now, when I was going through my square wreath forms, I found out that they carry two different sizes of these square wreath forms. The one that I'm going to be using today is by Floral Garden, and this is their 14-inch wreath form that is square. I also picked this one up, and this one was a closeout from Walmart, and this one is 16 inches. You can use this one as well, but if you're going to use the larger frame, you're going to need more mesh than what I'm using on the smaller frame. So just keep that in mind if you choose to use the larger square frame. You will also need 2 rolls of this 6-inch natural colored mesh. I picked this up from Hobby Lobby. 2 rolls of this. It is 5.5 inches by 10 yards. You will also need 2 rolls of each of these 2 colors that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. Now, both of these colors come in their regular everyday decorative mesh that they now carry, and they are 6 inches by 5 yards, so you'll need 2 in the blue and 2 in the white. I've unwrapped all of my mesh. I like to layer my mesh when I cut it. It makes it much easier, plus I get 3 cuts every time I do it, so that makes it go much faster. You'll want to cut your deco mesh into strips of 12 inches. Today we're going to be doing the folded ruffle method. I really do like this method. Even though it is a cut method, you get little to no fraying on your wreath. And I also really love the texture that it gives the wreath base. Now, you don't have to use a rotary cutter if you don't have one. You can always use scissors, but I picked this one up from Dollar Tree. It was only $1.25. They are very good quality. They last me 6 to 8 months before I have to change it out. So I think that's a really good deal. You can't even buy replacement blades for like a Fiskars for that price. These are what your little bundles are going to look like. I think they look like a little butterfly. Now, to make your folded ruffle bundles, you take your cut ends and you fold them over themselves by about 1 inch. You push down, take one end, scrunch up to the center, then take the top and scrunch down. Pinch right in the center. Wrap your pipe cleaner around. Now your cut ends are here on the top. That's going to be the back. Pinch and twist. And then just open up your bundle. Sometimes you get little pieces that come off, just throw them away. It's not going to fray because all of your cut ends are scrunched in and folded in the back. And that is what your little bundle looks like. I'll show you one more time. You have your piece of deco mesh cut at 12 inches. Fold it over the ends so it covers itself by about 1 inch. Fold down. Scrunch from one end to the center, then scrunch from the other end to the center and pinch. And wrap with your pipe cleaner, making sure that the ends are facing up because that's your bottom, your back. Pinch nice and tight and twist. And there you go. If you need to adjust it, you can always adjust it before you attach. Just kind of pull till it looks even for you. Once it goes into the wreath, both sides will be pushed up. That's what gives you that smoother, kind of bubbly texture. Now, to attach our bundles to our wreath form, we're going to be attaching them to the 2 bars on the outside of the wreath. And the reasoning for that is because of the size of our sign. If you lay the sign down inside, you can see it completely covers that inner ring. And that's why we're going to be attaching it to the center and outside rings of the wreath. Now on a straight section here, and a section is between the 2 crossbars, it'll take about 6 bundles. On the corners here, it will take 11 bundles. You will put 10 bundles through the corner on the outside, and then you put 1 bundle right here between the center bar and the inner bar. That fills up this little corner. Otherwise, you can tell that it just needs 1 more. So by attaching 1 there in the corner, it fills it in and makes it look nice and even all the way around the wreath. So take your bundles, wrap your pipe cleaner around the inner bar and the outer bar, pull it together and just give it a twist or 2. Then I like to pull my pipe cleaners together and I push them forward. That way it keeps the back of my wreath looking nice and clean, and you will not be able to see them from the front. Now the pattern that I've done is 1 neutral, 1 white, 1 neutral, 1 blue, 1 neutral, 1 white, and just keep repeating. That gives it a nice mix. I didn't want too much blue or too much white, so you have 1/4 white, 1/4 blue, and half natural. Now when you place your bundles, you want to grab both sides and pull them up and then slide over. And then sometimes I like to pull one side of the bundle to one side and one to the other. This kind of just helps widen that space. And that is what it will look like. You just continue that pattern all the way around the wreath. And there you go. I have my base all done. And here on the back you can see how clean it looks by tucking your pipe cleaners, and then I did add 1 in each corner here to help fill in, and I used that neutral color. I'm very happy with that. Now I did have mesh left over from my second rolls, so that's good. I can always do a small wreath using the same color combination. I really like this color combination. Perfect for this wreath, would be great for a coastal wreath or even one for Christmas for non-traditional colors. We're going to attach our sign now. To prep your sign, I pulled 2 10-inch lengths of floral wire, 1 over the top, 1 through the hole, and twisted it in the back on both holes here at the top where the jute cord was. I also glued on 2 full-length pipe cleaners, made sure that they were fully dry, so it is now ready to attach. Now I like my signs to sit right up on top of my wreath. That is such a beautiful sign. I want to make sure that I see all of that beautiful florals, greenery, and pumpkins. To attach this, you simply take your pipe cleaners and your floral wire, you move the mesh to the side, and you attach it to the wire frame in the back. I have my sign on. It's nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. In the back here, once you get it on, you want to take those ends and push them forward, especially the wire. You don't want that to scratch your door, so just push it forward so it's down inside the mesh. Same thing with the pipe cleaners. Next, you're going to need some of these really cute sweater pumpkin picks that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. I did pick up 2 in the blue and 3 in this off-white to go on this wreath. They come on a dowel rod. Now I'm going to use my wire cutters and I'm going to cut that dowel rod. I only need about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Just squeeze and then rotate and squeeze again and it'll come off. I will prep my pumpkins and I'll be right back. You will also need a package of burlap leaves. They come 5 pieces to a pack. This is the one that I've chosen. This is the smaller. This looks more like the type of leaves here that are in the sign. And they do come on a piece of wire, which is great because you can bend them and shape them. And it also gives you an area to add glue to glue them into the wreath. I have all my pumpkins prepared. So now I'm just going to work on placement. Just stick them into the wreath, kind of where you think you want to place them. Now I kind of like that, and then what I'm planning on doing is going in with my leaves and adding just a few leaves around the pumpkins. And then at the top here, I'm planning on putting a nice big bow, so that's going to take care of this area. That's why I'm focusing all of my pumpkins and my leaves down here near the bottom. Well, I'm happy with the placement there of those pumpkins, so I'm going to start gluing these in. Now that I have my pumpkins in, I'm going to go in and glue in some leaves. Now remember, you can bend them and shape them however you want. Just going to be nestling them in around the pumpkins. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to make this beautiful fall blessing wreath. Now my last one came off the stem here, so I'm just going to glue that back onto the leaf. I am I'm really happy with my pumpkins and my burlap leaves. I think they look absolutely gorgeous. We're going to start to work on our bow now. You will need 2 full-length pipe cleaners. Now this ribbon is 2.5 inches. It is wired edge. I really love all those different shades of blue. I thought it would go with the wreath very nicely. And this is Robert Stanley collection. Unfortunately, I don't know where I got this. It's been in my collection for a long time. This one I picked up from craftoutlet.com, and it is a white glittery ribbon. It's 1.5 inches. It is wired edge. There's the number. And then I'm also going to be using this one. This is a 2.5 inch burlap ribbon. I picked this up at Michael's after Christmas. Nice big roll. We're going to start with the burlap ribbon. You want to measure your tail at 8 inches, pinch, and slide down between the 2 large dowel rods. Now if your ribbon is only nice on one side, you will want to twist it when you come through. If it's nice on both sides, you don't have to twist. Sometimes I like to just do it because it makes it easier when I go to fluff my bow. Now with this ribbon, we're going to be doing 3 loops on each side at 5 inches. Once you have your 3 loops on either side, you can trim your tail at 8 inches. Next, I'm going to move to this really pretty blue and white ribbon. Again, I'm going to measure my tail at 8 inches. Now this ribbon is only nice on one side, so I do need to twist it. When I come through, on your tails, the nice side should be facing up. When you do your loops and you come through, the nice side should be facing down. I'm going to make 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. And now we're going to the white glittery ribbon, 8 inches on the tail. And I'll be making 2 loops on either side at 3 inches. Now while you have your bow in your bow maker, you want to go ahead and kind of play with your bow. I like to pull all my tails down and then adjust my loops. This way I can see what it's going to look like before I tie it all together. If I need to make any adjustments, now is the time to do it. So on my first layer here, I have 3 loops, so I'm going to open those up. And then I have 2. I'll separate those as well. And then I have another 2 with the smaller ribbon. This way you can check, make sure it looks like it's even, that you didn't miss a loop. Now I want to put a center loop here. So I'm going to take my white ribbon and I'm just going to fold it into a little loop here. You want it to cover itself by at least an inch. Decide how big or small you want your center little loop to be. Once you've decided, go ahead and trim. I just put a little clip to hold my center loop there. Then you'll want to take one of your pipe cleaners. I like to slide it down underneath into the center here. I pull it up on both sides and pinch it together so I can lift out my bow. This helps me keep it stacked properly. And then I take those, cross them in the front. Let's put our little loop on here first. Get it on there. So you just run the pipe cleaners through your center loop there. Pull it to the back. Pull nice and snug. And twist. I always like to hold it in the center there and then kind of pull down the tails. Just kind of open up your loops. I'm not going to do any fluffing right now until I get it onto my wreath. I just want to make sure that everything looks right. If I need to make any adjusting, now is the time. And take your time when you fluff your bows. That is the hardest part about bow making, is the fluffing. So just take your time. If your bow doesn't, or your loop doesn't want to lay right, go all the way down to where it comes out. Open it up and adjust it until it lays the way you want it to. Now here on the back, my pipe cleaners are not long enough for me to use them to attach it to my wreath. So I'm going to add another pipe cleaner. Just place that in the center. Give it a twist or two. And then I take one of the short pieces and wrap it around one of the long. Then I take the other one and wrap it around the other side. Like that. Now my pipe cleaner is long enough and I can easily attach it to my wreath. Now another trick I like to do is here on the back before I attach my bow is I twist those pipe cleaners together for about 2 to 3 inches depending on the depth of my wreath. Like that. That way my bow is not going to sink down inside my wreath when I attach it. This will be inside the deco mesh. You're not going to see it, but that will allow my bow to sit right up on top. Now I want to put my bow right up on the top in the middle here, and then I'm going to fan out my tails so that I can see my fall blessings. To attach this, I'm simply going to take my pipe cleaners and feed it through the deco mesh to the back and attach it to the wire frame. There you go. I have my bow on. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I did trim these tails a little bit shorter. I angled these and dovetailed these. I also dovetailed my burlap. I really like that. I kind of pulled those out to the side. I wanted to make sure that I could read the saying on my wreath. Let me show you how to make this absolutely gorgeous fall wreath. To get started on today's project, I'm going to be using an 18-inch wreath form. Now the reason why I'm using the 18-inch wreath form is because of the size of the sign. It is 12 inches. And as you can see, if I place it on the inside, it fits nicely in my wreath. So once I get my deco mesh on here, it will sit nicely in the center and I'll still have plenty of room to add my ribbon and my embellishments. Now these are the three colors that I've pulled out to use on our tri-color bubble method wreath today. And I like these colors. The colors on the sign are very muted and these are very muted as well. The green and the gray really pull the dark and light greens in the sign, and this is a beautiful color that accents and is in the sign in a few areas. So these colors are going to make a beautiful base for our fall wreath. You're also going to need some pipe cleaners that are cut in half. Now I have one roll of each color laid out. And to get these attached, I'm just going to kind of separate the ends here. Start on one and scrunch. Do the next one and the last one. Now the reason why I'm scrunching them side by side rather than stacking them is once I have it onto my wreath base and I have to go back and open up my poofs, that's going to make it much easier for me to do that than if I stack them on top of each other. Go ahead and secure a pipe cleaner on the end. Okay, and then we're going to attach it right here to a crossbar. Want to feed from the front to the back. Give it a couple good twists. And then push the ends from the front to the back. Pull them back through those pipe cleaners and twist it down again. This will just make it nice and secure. You don't have to worry about it pulling it through. Okay. Pull your pipe cleaners together and then push them forward. You can trim off any excess, you just need to leave about an inch so it doesn't pull back through. Okay, so we're going to be measuring our bubbles at 8 inches. You want to start to measure right here. Pull to the end and pinch at 8 inches. Add a pipe cleaner. Now to make this easy on myself, I like to measure out a few first before I start to attach it. It makes the process go just a little bit faster, and then that way you're not just doing the same motion over and over again. It mixes it up a little bit. You can find a complete supply list in the description box below. Okay, now I'm going to start to attach it. And my first one I'm going to attach to the center bar and the inner bar. Wrap it around those two bars and give it a twist or two. Pull the pipe cleaners together and push them forward. Now my next one, I'm going to move to the center bar and the outer bar. Again, just pull together, give a good twist or two, and push those forward. And then that's what I'm going to do. Just keep alternating back and forth. And then just move it over. Once you get a section full, you can go back and separate your poofs. You just want to pull them apart. You do not have to open them up completely, but you do want to separate them. One, because you want to see each of those colors. And two, you have 3 poofs every time you do one, so you might as well take advantage of that. Enjoying today's content and want to see more? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. When the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube should let you know every time I upload new content to my channel. I have my first section complete. You will be placing 10 bundles in each section. You will have 5 on the inner bar and center bar and 5 on the center bar and outer bar. Once you have put in 10 bundles, you move into your next section. Your first 3 rolls should cover your first 2 sections. There are 8 sections on the wreath, and that's why you need 4 rolls of each color. I've already gone through and opened up and separated my poofs, and look at that beautiful color mixture. And once they're all pulled apart, you can see each of the colors, and they're very muted, but they go perfectly together. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous base, nice, thick, and wide. And here you go, my base is complete. The tri-color bubble method did a beautiful job. I went in and opened up all of the poofs so you can see all 3 colors and how beautifully mixed they are. And as you can see, this is one of my favorite methods when using Dollar Tree mesh, because you get little to no fraying because you're not cutting the mesh. Time to get our sign attached. Now here on the back, I glued on 2 full-length pipe cleaners at the bottom. Here at the top, I just removed the cord that would have hung the sign, and I put silver floral wire through both, ran it through the hole and over the top. I left enough so I can use that to attach it. I like to attach my signs in 4 places on my wreath. That way the sign's not going to move or change. And I want this guy right in the center up on top of the mesh. Isn't that beautiful? Just take your pipe cleaners and your floral wire, separate your mesh and feed it down until you can attach it to the wire frame in the back. My sign is attached and it's not going to go anywhere. I'm loving that background with this sign. It really pulls all those beautiful colors. Let's work on our ribbon. These are the 4 ribbon that I've chosen. I picked up all of these from Dollar Tree in their fall section. They are all 2.5 inches at 3 yards. I have my faux plain burlap, this really pretty sunflower and leaves, orange faux burlap, and this really pretty checkered. I like it very much. We're going to be putting these 2 ribbon together and these 2 ribbon together. You need to cut 8 pieces of each ribbon at 10 inches and dovetail both ends. I have all my ribbon cut and I have pipe cleaners that are cut in half. I'm going to be making 2 separate ribbon bundles. These 2 are going to go together and then these 2 are going to go together. I always like to put my pattern in the front and my plain in the back. Now I do like to style my ribbon bundles before I put them in. I just like to lift them up and curl the ends out so that you can see each color. So that's number 1. And that is your second bundle. You will need to make 8 of each bundle. I have all my ribbon bundles made. I'm starting to attach it to my wreath form. Now this bundle I'm attaching to every crossbar as I work my way around, and then in between these 2 that are attached to the crossbars, I'm adding one of these. And I'm just alternating between attaching it inner, middle, and outer. Once you have your bundle attached, you want to make sure to tuck those pipe cleaners. You don't want anything sharp on the back. So I normally put the two on the crossbar and then find my spot in the center for the other one. Okay, so I have inner, middle, outer, inner. So the next one will go back to the center. And I just keep alternating as I make my way around the wreath. I have all of my ribbon in and I'm so happy with how it's turning out. Now there's one more element I want to add. I have these two packages of little pumpkins. They do come with clips on the back. They are the muted pumpkin clips, and I think both of these colors are going to go gorgeous. Now I'm actually going to take them off of the clips, but that is up to you. I found that a lot of them are falling off anyway. And then as I attach these to my wreath, I'm going to be attaching them using Aleene's Original Tacky Glue and hot glue. Hot glue can fail if this wreath goes outside, so that's why I use Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. This will take 24 to 48 hours to set up, but once it does, it makes your wreath more weather resistant. Things are not going to fall off if it gets too hot or too cold. I've even had my wreath out in wind and rain and nothing fell off, so I'm very happy with this glue. So just work your way around. I'm going to alternate between the green and the orange. And here you go, we are all done. I got all of my pumpkins on. I did end up using all of them from the 2 packs, so I have 6 orange and 6 green pumpkins on my wreath. I'm very happy with the color tones, and everything came together just how I had planned. To get started on our project, you're going to need one of these beautiful scarecrow garden stakes. I picked this up this year in their fall section. Now they have 2 to choose from. They have the little boy here, and then they also have a female. Now if you had double doors, I think it would be absolutely adorable to do 2 14-inch wreaths, put him in the middle of one and her in the middle of the other, and then hang one on either door. I love to do that. The doors to my master bedroom are double doors, so sometimes when I do projects like this, I'll do 2 so I can hang one on either door. But how cute would that be on dual doors out front? What a great way to greet your guests. Today we're going to focus on our little boy here, and they're really easy to get off. Just push it down. You want to hold nice and still, grab the stake, kind of go back and forth a little bit, and then it'll pull right out and you won't have any damage to your sign. Now to get these attached to my wreath form, I like to use these. They are called mounting pads or cable mounts. I've seen them also called that. You can pick this up in pretty much any hardware. In this package you get 10 count. It will hold up to 40 pounds and they are 1 inch by 1 inch. Now when you take them out of the package, this is what they look like. They have the little holes here on the side. This is where you can put your cable tie or your pipe cleaner in, and you can go either this direction or this direction. Now if you turn them over, they have a little peel off here that has a sticky pad. You want to remove that. Once you remove it, this is what it looks like. And then to attach it to the back of your metal sign, you want to use a combination of either Fix-All adhesive or E6000. You need a good industrial strength adhesive and hot glue. The hot glue is going to allow you to attach it right away. It's going to hold it on there until the Fix-All or the E6000 fully sets up, and that can take 1 to 2 days. Once that happens, then this will be weather resistant and you won't have to worry about this coming off and your sign falling off. And on the back here, I'm going to do 2. I'm going to place one up near the top here, and then one down here near the bottom. I want to make sure that my sign is going to sit exactly where I place it. So while the mount on the sign set up, we're going to get started here on our base. You're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up from Dollar Tree, some pipe cleaners cut in half, and some Dollar Tree deco mesh. You will need 3 rolls in the orange, 3 in the brown, and 3 in this gold color. These all come out of their fall section, which they should have in stores now. So you'll need a total of 9 rolls of deco mesh. I have 1 roll of each color of my deco mesh unwrapped. And to get this started, you want to scrunch the ends of each of the rolls, and I always like to put them side by side. You really don't want to stack them on top of each other. That'll just make it harder later on when you go in to separate your poofs. Take a pipe cleaner and attach onto the ends. Twist a couple times. You need that to be really snug. You don't want it to pull out while you're working on it. We're going to attach everything to the 2 bars here in the middle, but I'm going to start here on the crossbar. Feed it from the front to the back. Pull your pipe cleaners nice and snug and give a twist. And then I always like to push my ends to the back. I pull it back through the pipe cleaners and give another twist. And then I push those sharp ends forward. Now if you have a lot here left on your deco mesh, you can trim it, but you want to leave about 1 inch. You don't want it to pull through while you're working on it. So today for our base, we're going to be doing the poof or bubble method. I've seen it called both. And I put multiple rolls together. Usually you see it with 10-inch or 21-inch mesh, and they use 1 roll at a time. For using Dollar Tree mesh, my solution was to use multiple rolls. Now you can use 2 or 3 rolls at a time. And what's great is each time you do a measurement and a poof, you're actually making 2 or 3 poofs at a time. It gives you a beautiful, thick, full base. And as you can see, you can mix up the colors. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this method. And today we're going to be measuring our poofs at about 8 inches. You want to start to measure here where you attached it. Pull all 3 out, measure at 8 inches, pinch. Then add a pipe cleaner. Then take that and attach it to the 2 bars in the middle. So feed from the front to the back around the 2 bars. Pull your pipe cleaners together. Give a twist or 2. And then I always like to pull my ends together, and then I push them back forward. This keeps the back of my wreath looking nice and clean. All those sharp edges are away from the back, and you won't be able to see them from the front. So that's my first poof. And then you just continue to do that. You want to put approximately 10 poofs in each section. And 3 rolls should cover 2 full sections on your wreath, and there are 6 sections on a 14-inch wreath. Once you get this method down, it goes nice and quick, and it gives you a beautiful, no fray base to work on. Okay, and that's just 3 poofs. And in each section, and a section is between the 2 crossbars, you want to put 10 poofs. Now I have my first 3 rolls of mesh attached, and at 10 poofs it completely covered 2 sections, and that's what you're looking for. If you come out short when you're doing your poofs and say you only have 9 per section, that's fine. You just want to keep them as relatively even as you can. And then once you get a section done, just go through. You don't have to open them up, but you do want to pull apart each of the colors so that you can see them. And you just want to try to kind of move the colors around so that you don't have like all the brown here. As you can see, I kind of moved it from one side to the other in the middle and back and forth so that all 3 colors are nicely mixed. But look at how beautiful and thick and full that base is. I'm going to finish my base and then I'll be back and we can move forward and decorate. I have my deco mesh base done, and it did take 9 full rolls. Now of course, if you didn't want to do 3 rolls at a time, you could do 2 colors at a time and cut it down to just 6 rolls of mesh. Your base won't be quite as thick and full, but it will still be beautiful and easy to fill. Now my finished base here is a good 20 inches in diameter, so this makes a lovely large wreath. I pulled out 3 ribbons. I got all of these out of the fall section at Dollar Tree this year. You need to cut 8 pieces of each ribbon at 10 inches. I have all my ribbon cut, and I've started to make my ribbon bundles. Now I'm going to be making 3 different ribbon bundles, and you'll need to make 4 of each bundle. So this is the first one, the second, and the third. So I'm just mixing up the ribbon, and it's 2 ribbon per bundle. I just find the center and scrunch. Do a little crisscross, feed in my pipe cleaner. And I always like to pull everything down. It just makes it a little easier for me to get a good hold. Plus that way I can make sure it's in the center. Pinch at the base and give a good twist. And then I like to style my bundles a little bit before I put them on. I just want to kind of pull everything up, and I bend the ends out. I want to make sure that the bundle is going to sit the way I want it to when it's in my wreath. That looks like that. And the next one I'll do these 2. So each style of bundle you should have 4. For a total of 12 ribbon bundles for this wreath. I have my ribbon bundles done, and now I'm going to be attaching them to my wreath. I'm going to show you here on a blank form where I'm going to be attaching them. So on the inside, the 2 rings on the inside, at every crossbar, I'm going to be placing a ribbon bundle. So that'll be here and here. And then around the outside, in between the 2 crossbars, on the 2 bars on the outside, I'll be placing 1 here. So you'll have a total of 12 ribbon bundles. 6 will be on the inside and 6 will be on the outside. So to attach those, you take your pipe cleaners, you feed it down in between the deco mesh till you can get to the wireframe in the back. And then go ahead and attach it to the areas there on the wireframe. Make sure to tuck your pipe cleaners once you have your ribbon bundle in. Okay, and then you also want to kind of lift your ribbons up and open them out. Now I've decided not to do any dovetailing on this. I'm kind of been into the blunt ends on my ribbon, and that's what I'm going to do this time. If you would like to dovetail your ribbon, by all means, go right ahead. I'm going to get the rest of my ribbon bundles in. I think it looks beautiful. I can still see bits and pieces of my base and a great mix of all those beautiful fall ribbons. Now I want to add some sunflowers and some pine cones. So I pulled out one stem of this darker sunflower and one stem of the lighter. I cut my flowers off, but you want to leave a couple inches there. That'll help you to glue it into your wreath. And then I also pulled out 3 stems that I had that had pine cones. Each stem had 3 pine cones on it, so I cut those off, so I have a total of 6 pine cones. And now I just want to kind of play with my placement first. I want to add a few of the pine cones and some of the flowers. So I'm just going to kind of work around wherever the opposite is of where my ribbon is. I have a little bit of space, and that's where I'm going to put one of these elements. Just add some hot glue onto the stem and make sure that it gets good contact with the deco mesh. I have all my embellishments on, and I'm so happy with how this looks. Very festive fall. Absolutely gorgeous. My pine cones and my sunflowers, and I pulled those right from the ribbon. Now I've added some pipe cleaners here to my side, and I'm ready to attach him. And I like them right in the middle up on top. And all you do is you take your pipe cleaners, you feed it through the mesh, and you attach them onto the wire frame in the back. And there you go, we are all done. I absolutely love my fall scarecrow wreath. He came out so adorable. And could you imagine if you had dual doors? You have him on one side and his girlfriend on the other. Absolutely beautiful, made using all Dollar Tree items. To get started on our project today, you're going to need some mesh. I picked this up yesterday at Michael's. It was on sale. It's normally $9.99. I got it on sale for $5.99. It's made by Celebrate It. It is 9.5 inches at 19 feet. Now I think that's a little expensive, but I was having a hard time finding anything on sale, so I was happy that I found this. And I really do like the texture of it and the thickness. I think it'll be very pretty. You will need 2 rolls for this project. You will also need a working wreath form. If you have not seen me put one of these together, I will put a link in the description box below to a short video that'll show you how to do this. This is made using one of the Dollar Tree frames, 14-inch. We're going to start to attach our mesh, and I like to start here in the center. Now when I lay this out, I always pull the centers facing inward and the ones on the outside facing out. I've opened up my mesh, and to fill in the base here, we're going to do the poof method. Just scrunch the end together, place it in one of the pipe cleaners. Make sure you get that down nice and tight. Give a good twist or two. You will also need something to measure with. Now you want to start to measure where you attached it here onto your wreath form. Just grab it loosely in your hand. You want to measure to 12 inches, pinch. Take where you pinched, move to the next pipe cleaner on the inside, place it in, give a good twist. Then go back to where you attached it and measure again to 12 inches, pinch, and go to the next one. Now you're going to do this all the way around the center till you get back to the pipe cleaner that you started with. Now I'm back where I started from. So what you're going to do is now take it and drop it to the one directly below it that's on the outside. Give that a good twist. And then you're going to do the same thing all the way around the outside. Measure at 12 inches, pinch, and place it into the next pipe cleaner. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to complete this fall wreath. Now I've gone through and opened up all of my poofs, and all that means is I went in underneath, opened it up. This way you'll get the best coverage to hide the frame in the back. And I really like that. I like this texture and I like the color. Now I have a little bit left on that roll, so we're going to use what's left on this and the other roll to help fill that basin even more. Now if you don't have a rotary cutter, you can use scissors, but you want to make sure they're nice and sharp so you get a clean line. You want to measure your pieces at 12 inches. And for these, we're going to be doing the standard ruffle method. So you lay it down, grab in the center, and scrunch right up the center till you get to the end. You have a little bow tie. Then you take that and place that right in the center of the pipe cleaner. Pull the pipe cleaner up and give a good twist. Now when you're placing this into your bundle, you want to make sure that the curl side is down so that those cut ends are down. And then I usually just kind of pick it up, let the ends curl around, and fill in. I'll show you one more time. take your piece of mesh that's cut at 12 inches. You want to lay it so the curl side is down. Start in the center and scrunch right up the center till you get to the other side. Pinch. So you see it's curling down. That's what you want because you want those cut ends to be down. Go to the next pipe cleaner and place it in. See how much it fills that in? As you're placing your little ruffles, you can twist up your pipe cleaner, trim it down to about 1/2 inch, and then tuck it down to the back. You'll want to do that to each of the pipe cleaners on the inside and the outside, and that will fill in the base of the wreath nicely. That's why you're going to need 2 rolls to fully fill in the base. Now these are a little shorter than what you normally get. These are 9.5 inches at 19 feet, which is about 6 yards. Normally on these rolls you would get 10 yards. So that's why this is a little bit expensive. But I really do like that texture, and it was on sale, so I thought, what the hey, I'll go for it on this wreath. I have my base all done, and I'm really happy with how it looks. Now I do have 3 pieces left over. This one was just a little short. It was the piece at the very end. And I'm going to add these, but I'm going to wait until I get my sign and my bow on to see where I can fill in to make it a little bit fuller. Now you're going to need some floral wire. This is the one I use. I pick it up from Dollar Tree. It's 26 gauge and you get 100 feet. I really do prefer the silver. I use this on pretty much everything. And then you're also going to need a couple full-length pipe cleaners. This is the sign that I've chosen to use on our wreath today. I really do like it. I found this at the Dollar Tree. I absolutely love the colors. Now they had 2 different ones that were set up like this to choose from. I'm really into the acorns this year, so I chose this one. Now to set up your sign, through the hole here where the hanger was, you want to pull the floral wire, one through the hole and one over the top, and then you twist it together. You need to leave enough that you can attach it to your wreath form. And then depending on how you want to place your sign on your wreath, depends on where you want to place your pipe cleaners. So I laid it out, decided where I wanted it to go, and then I just glued down 3 more pipe cleaners. Now the reason why I like to use a combination of the pipe cleaners that are glued down and floral wire is that hot glue can fail. If it gets too hot or too cold, it can release and your sign will fall off. But if you have the floral wire in conjunction with the hot glue and pipe cleaners, you're guaranteed that your sign will not fall off. So I'm going to be placing my sign. Now I want my sign to go at a slight angle, and that is why I added this extra pipe cleaner here, so that I can easily attach it. And then in this open space I'm going to place my bow, and then I'll fill in with a few other items around the sign. Now to attach your sign, you want to take your floral wire and the pipe cleaners. Once you have its placement, you just need to move the mesh aside till you get down to your wire frame here in the back. And that's what you want to attach it to. Now you can attach it anywhere on the wire frame that you need to get your sign to sit the way you want it. Now I have my sign on and I'm really happy with its placement. Let's see. So I have it angled the way that I wanted. I like that. We're going to work on the bow next. Now this is the ribbon I've chosen to use on our wreath today. I picked both of these up at Dollar Tree and they have them this year. They are 2.5 inches at 9 feet. I really do like this pattern. I think it's very pretty. and very suitable for this wreath. Has that nice burlap background and all those pretty colors of different fall leaves printed on the ribbon. And then this is one of my favorite types of ribbon that Dollar Tree carries. This is their faux burlap. They do carry it in green and in orange for fall. And I like it. It's easy to work with and it holds its shape. You will need to cut 4 pieces at 18 inches in the green and 5 pieces at 18 inches in the burlap with the leaves. I have all my ribbon cut to 18 inches. Now you want to take 1 piece of each color, find the center, pinch that and place it in between the 2 large dowel rods. Now I'm using my Easy Bow Maker today. It really does help me. I have arthritis in my hands and sometimes I'm unable to hold things. So this helps me out quite a bit. Then you want to take another piece of your pattern ribbon, and then in the back you want to fold the ends over themselves by about 1 inch. Find your center, pinch. Now the folded ends, the cut ends are down. You place that in. Now you're going to do that with each piece and you're just going to alternate between your green and your beige. You'll need 1 full-length pipe cleaner. Slide that down underneath until you get it right up next to the center. I like to pull them together. This helps me lift it out and keep everything properly stacked. Now pull nice and tight and pull it to the back. Give it a good twist. Pull down your tails and go through and open up and separate out your bow. I have another piece of the leaf ribbon. I'm going to use this to cover the center here. And I'm going to tri-fold this in. Use just a little bit of hot glue to help keep it together on either end. Then we're going to start here in the back. You want to open up your pipe cleaners and we're going to glue one end down right in the center there over the pipe cleaners. Then just wrap that around the center. Pull it to the back. Decide how tight you want it. Then once you're happy, glue it down and trim off any excess ribbon. Now these pipe cleaners are way too short to put that on my wreath. So I'm going to add another pipe cleaner. I just put it in the center twist the short ones a couple times, and then I take the short one and wrap it around one of the long ones. Now I have plenty of pipe cleaner to be able to attach this to my wreath. Now I will do more fluffing and I will trim my ends once I get this on my wreath. I got my bow on, and you attach it the same way you did the sign. You take the pipe cleaners, feed it through the deco mesh, and attach it to the wire frame in the back. Now I like my tails here spread out to make sure that they don't fall and cover the sign. I did tack them down with just a little dab of hot glue on both sides so that they'll stay open. Now I'm really happy with this so far. I think it looks absolutely adorable, but it needs a little something more. To finish it off, I'm going to add a couple of these picks that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I really like this one. It has the acorn on it and some raffia. I think that's really pretty. I have 2 of these. And then I also like this one with the gourd. I like the green gourd. It brings out the little bit of green in the sign and matches the ribbon. And I have 3 of these. And then I also have some acorns from Dollar Tree that I picked up. I'm probably going to add some of these as well. Now before you glue these in, you just want to play with the placement to decide exactly where you would like to put them. You can just take them and kind of stick them into the wreath. Until you find where you want them. And then just add some hot glue onto the stem and glue them in once you find their placement. Just put a decent amount of glue so it can glue, if you're going to tuck it behind the sign, to the sign and to the deco mesh. I'm going to get the rest of my embellishments glued in, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. And there you go, we are all done. I'm really happy with the end result. I absolutely love all the gourds and the acorns added. I think it adds so much to the wreath. And I really love this sign. I absolutely love the dark background. It really makes it pop on the wreath. To get started on today's wreath, you're going to need a 3D pumpkin wreath form that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. You will also need a piece of foam board or cardboard. And this is optional. If you don't want to do this step, that's fine. You don't have to. But I want to extend my stem here. So I need to get in here and trace out the size it is now. I do the inside and the outside. And from here, you can decide however long, if you want it twisty, if you want it straight. So I like that. Once you have your stem the way you like it, the best way I've found to cut through either foam board or cardboard is to use a nice sharp utility knife or a really good pair of scissors. I have my foam board stem cut out, and just play with it until you get it to where you're happy. I like that. I think that's going to look great. I am planning on adding a lot of decor here. So I know if I left it the length it was, you're not going to really see it. And I wanted to make sure I could see my stem. So that's going to work perfectly. Now to cover my base here, I'm going to use one of the plus items from Dollar Tree. This is a throw blanket, and I liked the white and black buffalo check. I thought this would work great. Now this is rather large. You don't need a piece of fabric this large, and you can use whatever kind of fabric you like to cover these. Now for this project, you only need one pumpkin, but if you have another one, that's going to make this process very easy for you. So lay your fabric over your pumpkin. And if you have a second pumpkin, lay that on top. This is just going to help you stretch out that fabric, get all those wrinkles out, and then gently pull until the fabric is smooth where the pumpkin is. Now I've turned my pumpkin on this edge and this edge. I'm right up to the edge, but I need to cut out this side and this side. I do want to leave myself a little bit of room just in case things shift while I'm gluing them down. Okay, so you need a piece of fabric approximately 21 inches by about 15.5 inches. I put my fabric back in between the two pumpkins and I've stretched it, and I've also clamped it with these clips I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I did it all the way around. Now I have quite a bit of fabric here on the corner, so I'm going to remove that. Another thing you want to do is right here in the middle of your stem, you want to cut right down in between. That's going to help you pull that part around your wire stem. Now I'm going to start down here at the bottom. Everything is nicely stretched. I don't have any weird wrinkles. I'm just going to use my hot glue gun. Go right along the edge. Lay down just a little bit of hot glue. Gently pull and wrap around. Once you have your fabric attached to your pumpkin, you could remove the second pumpkin, and now you have it to use for another wreath. Go in and trim any excess fabric that you still have on the back. You want to leave between 1/2 inch to 1 inch of fabric. You also want to check and make sure everything is thoroughly glued down. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to complete each project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it'll also let you know where I purchased the materials. I have my back cleaned up and I'm happy with that. I just trimmed down my fabric. You don't want to leave too much. You want it to look nice and clean. But look at how pretty that looks. You may need to do a little bit of cleaning because once you cut this, if you use the same fabric, it does shed a little bit. But I like that. I think that's very pretty. So next we're going to extend our stem. So we're going to attach the stem we cut out earlier. And it should be big enough that the whole metal stem fits on it, because we're going to glue it directly to the metal stem. I have my stem glued on. It is not pretty. I don't care. I just need to make sure that it stays long enough for me to wrap it. We're going to wrap our stem with some decorative nautical rope. I have 2 packages. I'm hoping that will be enough. It is 9.5 feet in length. Now on the front here, you need to make sure that you come down and kind of cover this area. You don't want it to really show. So the first couple rows you need to be really careful. After that, you can just go for it and wrap. So I have my bottom filled in nicely, and now I'm working my way up my stem. I'm taking my time. I'm laying down a nice bead of glue, making sure that my rope is nice and snug. As you wrap up, you want to be very careful. You want to get as close as you can. If there are a few spots that are open, that's okay, because we're going to wrap back down. And when you wrap back down, you can wrap wild so that the stem looks very unique and interesting. If you don't like that, you can keep it nice and smooth, whatever style you prefer. But you want to get good coverage the first time you cover it. This is, of course, going to make it extra sturdy and well attached to your wreath. If you're enjoying today's content, make sure to subscribe, and when the notification bell pops up, if you hit that too, YouTube will let you know every time I upload new content. And I do upload new content to my channel every week. I have my first coverage of my rope on my stem, and this really helped me to hold it down so I could continue to move on without having to hold till the glue set up. I like that. And then right here at the bottom, I put a full length pipe cleaner. I just sealed the ends, wrapped it around, twisted it a few times, and now I'm adding glue. Just get some hot glue around there, let that set up. I want to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. This is how we're going to hang our wreath. Now if you want to keep your stem smooth like this, 1 package was sufficient to cover it. But as you can see, I'm almost out, so I'm probably going to need a little bit more. I do have another piece from a different package, so that should be sufficient. And I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do here. I think this is set up enough. You want to make sure that the end is covered and that that glue is fully set up. If you're going to move forward like I am, you don't want that to come loose, otherwise it's going to be a headache. And now you can have fun and wrap however you want. So I'm just going to go kind of loosely. I want to make sure that I end up with my end on the back. Oh, look at that stem. How beautiful. I absolutely love all that texture. And you'll also need a package here of the little acorn do-it-yourself ornaments. I pulled 2 out, and all I did was fill the hole there and paint the caps. And I used the lightweight spackling that you can pick up at Dollar Tree to fill the holes. I just made sure they were nice and smooth. And then I used burnt umber to paint the tops. We're going to add a little bit more decor to these acorns a little later on in the video. You're also going to need a couple packages of their burlap leaves. These come out with a fall. You'll need 1 in orange, and this one's kind of like a sagey green, and 1 in burlap. Now you're only going to need 2 of the large orange leaves. If you can't find the large ones, you can use the smaller ones. And we're going to distress that. I don't like it quite so bright. So I did go in and add some paint to it. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did. I used the burnt umber. Just get a little bit of paint. And I'm going to start right around the edge, and I'm just going to brush on some paint. I want the darkest part to be right around the edge of the leaf. So there, you can see the difference. This looks so much better than it plain. And you want to do that to 2 leaves of the orange. So I have my leaves done. I decided to go ahead and do that to 3 of the burlap leaves as well. They were just too flat. I really like these the way that they are. I like the color, so I decided not to do those. So I have 3 burlap leaves, 2 orange, and 1 package of the green. And now I'm going to move on to my little acorns here. I've just painted the top. The bottom is the natural wood. Now to dress these up, we're going to be using one of the rub-on transfer sheets that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. This is great. It has all kinds of words on there that you can choose from. We're going to be using family and gather, 1 on each of our little acorns here. So just cut out the words that you want. And then I like it because you can lay them down, make sure that they're going to fit. Decide if you want to put it on at a little bit of an angle. I think I'm going to do that. And then you peel it off the back and it's clear. Just lay it down the way you want it. Take a little craft stick and rub it until you see the color change lighter. That means it's transferred over. Transferred over perfectly. If you have not worked with the rub-on transfers that you can get from Dollar Tree, I suggest you do. They work very well. They transfer over on a lot of different materials, and I have had no issues with them since I started working with them. I highly recommend them. I have them transferred over and they both did very well. And now I want to dress this up a little bit. I want to put the 2 together. So I cut a piece, I don't know, about 12 inches long. So hot glue each end to the back of each acorn here on the stem. And then I'm just going to wrap this top portion with my jute cord. That'll make sure this is nice and secure, and it'll add a little bit more texture on that for me. Okay, once you have your end secure, just go ahead and freely wrap. If you need to tack it down a little bit more, go right ahead. I have the stems wrapped and they're attached. I really like that. How I want them to hang is I want the family to be higher than the gather. So just kind of place them how you want them to hang. About like that. Pinch and then tie a knot. That way they're not going to shift how they hang when you attach it to your wreath. Now I want my leaves to come down, so I'm going to be stacking them. And you know, I always like to play with things first, kind of see how I want to lay them out and the color combinations that I want to use. See, now you can understand why I needed to kind of tone down that orange. It looks much better against the black and white. Okay, I like that. Maybe one more. Put this at the very top. Okay, so once you have decided how you want to lay out your leaves, they do come with a stem on it, but it's not long enough for me to put my leaf as far down as I want, so I'm going to connect these. So once you have your placement, you know how you want to lay them out. Put them together, and then take those wires and twist. So I have them twisted together. And go to the next one. So I've wired together all of my leaves. I can readjust them once I get it onto my pumpkin, but that's what I want for one side here. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Now on the other side I want less leaves, so I'm going to start with the green. So I have all my leaves wired together. I'm ready to attach it, and I'm going to use the wire here that's left to attach it, because I want them to start right at the very top where my stem is. So initially I'm just going to take this and wrap it around my stem to the back. Now it's not long enough to go all the way around and to tighten it down, so when I get it to the back here, I'm going to hot glue it. And if I can feed it into the rope, I'll do that as well. That'll just make it a little bit more secure. I have both of my leaf stems attached, and I have the leaves right up to the stem there on my pumpkin. You just want to lay them down and adjust them. Kind of have some coming down, some coming out. You want to make sure that you're covering any of that wire so that you don't see it. Once you find your placement, just take your hot glue gun, go in underneath the base here of each leaf and attach it to the base of your wreath there with some hot glue. You just need a little dab. You want to make sure this part of your leaf can kind of curl up. That's going to give it more interest. This way your leaves aren't going to shift and move. If this goes out on the door and it gets a little windy, you don't want the position of your leaves to change. Oh my, look at how pretty that looks. Nice and rustic, has just a touch of color, but it's still in that neutral phase. And I think that looks gorgeous. The next thing I want to do is add a basic bow here at the top. I'm going to be using my Deluxe Easy Bow Maker. I love this bow maker. I use it all the time when I'm making bows, especially when I'm making large layered bows. This helps me out a lot because it holds everything for me. I love it. It's one of my favorite tools. Now this is the ribbon I pulled out to use today. This is the Robert Stanley collection, 2.5 inches at 30 feet. This is their jumbo roll. It regularly retailed for $9.99. You know, normally when I buy stuff from Hobby Lobby, I always try to get it on sale. So, okay. Now I don't want too long of tails, but I'm going to leave them at 8 inches just in case I change my mind. I'm going to pinch and come in. Now this ribbon is pretty nice on both sides, so if you don't want to twist once you come through, you don't have to. But you know, I find that it's easier for me to fluff out my bow if I twist. So I'm going to twist, and then here, I don't want my bow to be too wide, so I'm only going to go about 4 inches, and I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. So I have my 2 loops here at 4 inches. I'm going to do 1 more loop on either side at 3 inches. So take a full length pipe cleaner, slide it down on one side. Okay, so we have 2 loops in the back, 1 loop here in the front, and tails. Nice basic bow. Now if you need to adjust your loops, just go right down to where they come out. Kind of fan them open, do whatever twisting you need to do. Just don't pull too hard, otherwise you'll have to go in and readjust. Okay, so I will adjust my tails once I get it onto my wreath. And if I need to, I will, actually, let's do that right now. Let's cover the center. So let's get our bow attached. I'm going to use my pipe cleaners. I have my bow attached, and I was right, I didn't want my tails very long, so I cleaned those up. Now this ribbon does fray, so you need to either use a lighter or a little bit of clear craft glue to just hit the ends there to make sure that it doesn't fray. And now we're going to add our cute little acorns. So I'm going to go in underneath the leaves here. Okay, I like that. So now I'm just going to go in underneath my leaves and glue that down. The final embellishment for our wreath today is this beautiful floral. It comes out of the fall collection at Dollar Tree. It's just called a filler bush, but I like the dainty flower. The color is perfect. I'm just going to be using 1 stem. Separate your leaves and your florals into equal parts. Now there are 5 stems of the florals, so on the 5th stem, cut it and then come up in the middle and cut so you have a little bit of a stem and some florals, a little bit of stem and some florals, so you can divide it into 2 pieces. I have my stem cut into 2 equal piles, and I'm going to start with my half piece first. Move that one to the side. This pile is going to go on this side of my wreath. And just kind of work with the placement first. If you need to trim your stem down, cut it into 2 pieces, then do that, whatever looks right to you. Okay, like that. And then add some glue. Make sure you get a good amount and on both sides of your stem there. And just make sure that when you do feed it in that you're getting good contact either with the base or a leaf. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to use those leaves, but I definitely want to use the florals. I have my full stem glued in, and I think that was the perfect final addition for my fall pumpkin wreath. So very pretty. With just a few items from Dollar Tree and a little bit of ribbon, you can make this beautiful fall 3D pumpkin. To get started, you're going to need one of these tinsel witch hats that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. They've carried these for the past several years. You will need to remove all of the tinsel off of the witch hat. Now, you can usually find an end of the tinsel here at the tip of the witch hat on the bottom on the right side, or you can usually find it here at the tip of the hat. Okay? So go ahead and remove everything off of your form. I have all the tinsel off of my wreath form. I did leave the hanger that was attached. I'm going to use that to hang it when I'm finished. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and trim this. And I'm going to take the rim of the hat off. Now you don't want to cut this piece that goes across the bottom because that keeps the whole top section together. So just take some wire cutters. They're just plastic, so it snips off rather easily. And remove the rim from the form. Just like that. And now we have our gnome hat form. For the nose, you'll need a package of the styrofoam balls. Now the size, you get 3 in a pack, and they are 2.4 inches in diameter. You will only need 1. And then you're going to need an old stocking knee-high. I found on the styrofoam balls, instead of painting them, they look better and smoother if you just put a nylon over them. And just kind of pull it to the back, tie it off. And you just want to pull it back and make sure that the front is smooth. See, then it looks like it's a natural colored nose. For the beard, I'm going to be using these beautiful fall leaves. Now, this is the first year I found these at Dollar Tree, but you can use any stems of fall leaves. These are from Floral Garden, and they're just called maple leaves. I did find them in 2 different colors. I had this really pretty kind of more dark red and orange. And then this one that is more yellow, it has a little bit of green and orange. So I have 2 stems of each. You want to remove all of the tags. And then on the stems, you want to go ahead and open up the stems. You don't want to open them too much. Now how I'm going to lay my leaves down So I'm going to have one of the darker ones in the center on the bottom. And I'm going to take one of the yellow and have it a little shorter and place it on one side. Put the other yellow one on the other side at the same height. And then put the red one right on top and make that even shorter so they're layered on top of each other. We're going to start to attach our leaves to our wreath frame. And I'm initially just going to hot glue them down, but then once I have them hot glued in place, I'm going to go back with some floral wire and further secure it to the frame. So you need to start with the one that's going to be on top. That's the first one that you're going to see. That one you want in the middle. So I'm going to hot glue this stem right here. And then I'll go back with the floral wire and attach it even further to this part. So make sure that your leaves are facing down. You have it in the position that you want, and then add your hot glue to the frame. You want to hold it in position till that glue fully sets up, and then you can hit it with the wire. If you need to, you can even bend the leaf a little bit so that you get good contact. Now you don't need to worry, all of this will be hidden once we wrap the top. Okay, let that glue fully set up. And then I'm going to wrap the top and the bottom in this same frame here with the floral wire. Small piece of floral wire. I just want to make sure that this doesn't come loose, and it is much easier to glue it in place first and then wrap it with some floral wire. If you just try to wrap it with the floral wire, it goes all over the place and it makes it much more difficult. So just hot glue it there and then wrap it. Makes it much easier. And I'm just going to also, once I get it tied down in that one spot, I'm going to wrap it up the stem so that it's nice and secure. Okay, so I hot glued down my leaf first, and then as you can see, I went in and I wrapped floral wire around that to make sure that is fully attached and secure. And in the front, you can see I placed it where part of these two leaves are hidden. I can always pull them down and fill that in a little bit more, but I wanted it that way so I had that extra leaf there for when I place my nose. So now I'm going to work down and place the rest of these as I go down, and I'm going to tie them on the same way, but I'm just going to adjust their placement and make them longer as I go down. I got all of my leaves glued and wired on. They are nice and secure. My beard looks absolutely gorgeous. Now once you get it all on, just kind of play with the leaves, adjust them until you get the shape that you want. Now here on the outside, I'm cutting off these little nubs. Because I'm using burlap, I feel that they're going to pop through. They cut off really easily just with some wire cutters. And now I have a nice big piece of burlap. I bought this nice big roll at Walmart quite a while ago. I know they still carry it. And I measured out how much I'm going to need to wrap the top, and then I doubled that. And I gave myself a little extra. Make sure that's folded in half and it's all nice and even. or as even as you can get it with burlap. So you have one end that has the cut ends and one end that's folded. On the end that's folded, you want to fold that again. This is going to be the brim of the hat. And you can just use some hot glue to help tack that down. A little bit on either side. Just be careful, don't burn yourself. This is just to help hold it down while you wrap. Okay, so flip it over so that the brim is facing down. Now when you wrap it, you want to make sure that you leave this piece out. Once you get it glued down, you can cut a little hole and pull that back through so that you can hang your piece. If you forget and you wrap it, you can always take a needle, a large needle and some jute cord and sew through and add a loop later. But it's much easier if you just leave that out. And you want to find your placement. Make sure that's kind of in the center. And bring it over. You don't want it too tight. You do need to add your nose later. Once you get it where you like it, you can start to glue it down. Again, just be cautious. Hot glue goes right through burlap. Okay, so you want to continue to fold that over to get that shape. Now I want to leave the tail here as long as I can, so whatever extra fabric I have there that I can make the tip even longer, I'm going to. I have my hat all nice and wrapped. I just folded everything into the center. Now I did the curved side first because that was the hardest, and then I just pulled over the other side and glued it down. And I remembered to make a little hole and pull my hanger through. Now you also want to go back through all the way down your crease and hit any area that may be loose. You want that to stay nice and secure and not come apart on you. Once that's nice and secure, we can go ahead and add the nose. So I'm going to attach my nose now. I just took off the extra nylon there. And I'm just going to lift it up. This is where I'm going to add the glue to glue it, and I'm going to just slide it in underneath. Add a good amount of glue so it stays. And you also want to pull the brim down and glue that down as well. Okay, so I have my nose on there, Now I want this to be a little bit fuller, so before I tack anything down or stuff anything in on either side, I want to fill the hat. So I'm just going to take the burlap that I trimmed off when I was wrapping the hat, and I'm going to fold this up and use a dowel rod and stuff it in to fill up this part of the hat, because I want that to look full. You can use whatever you have. I'm just using the extra burlap, that way if anything kind of tries to show through, it all looks the same color. Yeah, I like that better. I think the hat looks better that way. I pulled out one more stem of the leaves and I cut 2 leaves off. I'm going to help fill in this little space on either side of the nose, and I'm just going to glue in one more leaf on either side that will help fill that in. Okay, I got it all filled in. I think it looks really nice. Now the final touch to this wreath is I'm going to add some stuff right here to decorate his hat a little bit. And I pulled out some orange mini mums and some wheat. Okay, so I have 3 pieces of wheat. I'm going to put this in first. Just kind of put them together how you like, and I included the little leaves and everything. I want all that extra color. I'm just going to add some hot glue here on the ends and stick them in. Right down inside the brim of the hat here. Just play with them till you get them so that they look the way you want. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of floral. There you go, we are all done. I think the wheat and the mini mums were the perfect final addition to finish off our wreath. To get started on today's project, you're going to need 2 of these turkey wood cutouts. Now the reason why I'm using 2 is because they are really thin this year. If you have one from the past that is thicker, then you can use 1, but these are really thin, so I'm going to glue 2 of them together to make them nice and sturdy. And I'm going to use a combination of this super glue and Elmer's school glue. Now to spread this around, I'm going to be using one of these paint brushes. Now I did pre-wet this and wrung it out. It'll just make it easier for me to move the glue around and to get it nice and even. You want to get it all the way out to all the edges, and you need it to stay moist until you can get it fully covered. Just make sure it's evenly coated and you got it all the way to the edge, all the way around. And then line up the other one. Squeeze them together. If you have a large amount of glue ooze out, make sure to wipe it off. And I have 2 pieces of cardboard here. I'm going to put this down in between the 2 pieces of cardboard. Now you can use poster board, cardboard, just something large and flat. Make sure you're well lined up. Put another piece on top, and then you want to weigh this down with a book or something heavy. Once you get it weighed down, you want to let this sit overnight so that you get a good seal. The glue will take a full 24 hours to fully cure. My 2 pieces of my turkey are glued together. It is much more sturdy. I'm very happy about that. I initially planned on staining my turkey, but for some reason the stain was not taking evenly over the turkey. So I changed my mind and decided to paint the base. I have my turkey all painted. Now I painted the whole base apple barrel burnt umber, and I really do love that dark rich brown. And then here on the face for the beak, I just went over the dark brown with some King's Gold, and then I mixed a little bit of the lipstick red in with the dark brown for his little gizzard or whatever this is called. And then for the eye, I just used a black Sharpie. Now that's the only detail that I'm going to add to my turkey, because I want the main focus to be on his plumage, his feathers in the back on this wreath. Next, you're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form that you can get from Dollar Tree. This one happens to be gold, but you can use whatever color you can find. And then you're also going to need some plastic canvas. Now the plastic canvas, usually you can find over in like the embroidery section. And you need a piece that's large enough to fill the center of a 14-inch wreath. And I believe I picked mine up from Walmart. So just lay your wreath form down and take a little Sharpie or other pen, and then just trace out the center so you know what size to cut it. And it cuts relatively easy. You just need a good pair of scissors. So we're going to attach our plastic canvas to the center of our wreath, and I'm just going to be using some nylon ties. So just find a space next to the side, push your nylon tie through. And attach it to the center ring. Just like that, and then work your way around. You'll want to put one zip tie at each crossbar. This is what it should look like once you get your plastic canvas attached. Just go in and trim your zip ties. So now when I attach my turkey, I want to attach him kind of over to the side here. All of his feathers are going to come out back here, and that's going to be the part of our wreath. So there are 2 things I want to make sure. One, this hole up here is going to be where a crossbar is so I can attach it. 2, this piece down here needs to be far enough down that it covers the wire frame there. And 3, this piece needs to be up and covering the frame. So I can only see just a very small, tiny amount, so let me move it. There you go. So you don't want to see any of the wire frame here or down here. You want the sign to cover it. Okay, so that way it looks like the turkey's walking this way and then all of his feathers are behind him. So once you have the placement correctly, you want to take your Sharpie and then again just kind of roughly go over so you can see where it is and where your placement's going to be. So now you know exactly where your turkey is going to be placed. You know you don't have to put any mesh here, but that you do need to start your mesh before the line so that you don't see it. But I can't wait to get this baby done. I think it is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Love it already. So let's finish setting up the sign to be attached. Here in the hole where the jute cord was, we're going to put some floral wire. And I just used the floral wire that I pick up from Dollar Tree. This is 26 gauge and you get 100 feet. They have several different colors to choose from. I do prefer the silver because it pretty much disappears no matter what color I use it on. So you put it through the hole, one through the hole, one over the top. Pull it to the back and give it a good twist. You just need to make sure that you're leaving it long enough so that you can attach it to the wire frame. So I have my 2 pieces long enough to attach. That right there is approximately how I have it. So now you need to look and see where you need to add your 2 pipe cleaners. So I can see I want to put one about here and one about here so that I can attach it to the wire frame. So that's right there. Let's add a nice dab of hot glue. I have both of my pipe cleaners and my floral wire attached to my turkey. So my turkey is all ready to go onto my wreath. For our turkey feathers, I'm going to be using a combination of these 2. This one is Celebrate It. It is from the fall section. It is 9.5 inches at 19 feet. I did pick this one up at Michael's. I really did like all the fall colors in there. Reds, blues, oranges, yellows, very, very pretty. And then I'm also going to be using this one, which is the jute colored. This is 10 inches by 10 yards. This is the Poly Pro mesh ribbon. This I picked up from Hobby Lobby. So I've started to attach our little bundles here to our wreath form. Now it's a lot easier if you go in and you set up some of your zip ties ahead of time before you make your bundles. So we're going to be attaching in each section, and each section is between the 2 crossbars, 5 bundles, and we're going to be attaching it to this second ring from the center, right here. So we're only going to be attaching it to a single ring. Okay, just run your zip tie underneath, pull it in, get it down to where it started, and then set it to a side. You'll want to put 5 of these in each section. You want to take your mesh, you want to cut it into strips at 10 inches. You'll want to use either a rotary cutter or a really good pair of scissors. And then once you have your piece, you want to grab diagonal corners and slightly pull. So then you take one corner, put it down. I like to fold it a little bit, like that. Same thing on the other diagonal corner, fold down, fold in. Take that section, bring it to the middle. Take the other side and bring that to the middle, and then scrunch right in the center. Like that. Then you're going to take those two, you're going to bring them together and turn it over. You want these cut sides to be down. So it looks like that. You grab that, you slide it into your zip tie, lay it down to the one next to it so you come through the same amount, and then pull down your zip tie, get it nice and tight, and trim. Now for this outer ring, they will all be the same pattern. Then on the next ring, I'll change to the plain jute colored mesh, and I'll just go back and forth as I layer down. So I'll show you one more time. You want to cut your mesh into strips of 10 inches. Grab opposite corners, give a little tug, fold your corner in, fold over, fold your corner in, fold over, bring that to the center, bring the other side to the center, and then scrunch right in the middle. Okay, and then you take those and you fold them together, bring them down side by side, and turn it over so that your cut side is down. Slip it in, come alongside the next one so you're in the same depth, and tighten down. I think that looks so pretty. I'm going to continue my first row, and then I'll come back and show you how to start your second row. Now I have my first row all the way in, and I'm really happy with the result. I am now adding my second row and the second color of mesh, and I wanted to show you here how I attach them. I'm still using the zip ties, and I just use the holes here in the plastic canvas, and I string it through. I start from the front and go down and then come back up through the back. And you want to make sure that you go at least 2 spaces away. You don't want to go to the one right next to it. Otherwise, when you try to tighten it down, it'll just break and pull through. And you can see that's quite a bit of a distance that I dropped down. That's a good 2.5 inches. And the reason why I did that is I want to make sure I still see the other color in the back when this one lays on top. And then when I go to add the next one, which will be the colored and patterned mesh, I'll do the same thing. I'll drop it down so that I can see all the different colors from all the different layers. And I'm figuring it'll probably take 4 layers to complete this. I have my second row in, and I think it looks absolutely fabulous. Now on my second row, it took about 23 bundles. On my outer ring, it took 20. And the reasoning why is I wanted to make sure that I filled in those spaces where my sign is. So So my sign's still going to go about here, and I wanted to make sure you couldn't see the wreath form behind it. So I filled in with that color. Now I only have 4 more pieces of my fabric here. So I want to make sure I place those strategically, and then I'll fill in the rest with my jute colored fabric. But as you can see, like this area is already filled in enough, and this area, but this area still needs more. So this is where I'm going to concentrate. I have all my mesh on my wreath, and I am so happy with the result. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. Very, very pretty. And then once I get my sign placed, you can see that you won't be able to see any of my work or the wreath form. Now before I place this on my wreath, there's one more thing I want to do to help prepare this for being outside. I'm going to be putting this wreath on my front door. I found this at my local hardware store, Min Wax Paste Finishing Wax. It protects and polishes furniture, trim, paneling, natural. I'm going to be using this to put a nice sealed cover over the top of my turkey because it's going to be outside on my front door during fall. So we get a lot of rain, moisture, warm days, cold nights. Okay, now this wax is slightly tinted, but that's okay. Once I get this on, I don't think you're going to notice. Just use an old rag and then just go over and give it a nice light rub. Once you've gone over it once lightly with a good coat, take a nice clean spot on your rag and go over and remove any excess. I really like that. It added just a slight sheen and made the paint look nice and rich. This will protect it from the weather. Now I used all of the pattern roll of mesh. That was only 19 feet long. This jute colored mesh was 10 yards, and I do have a little bit of this left, so if I needed to, I could always go back and add some more. So I just wanted to recap what I did. On the outer ring, I did 20 bundles. On the inner ring, I did 23 bundles because I filled in more here. The next ring I did 8, and I did every other one. And then I did about 5 or 6 to finish filling in right here in the center. And now I'm going to attach my turkey. I just want to make sure I get his positioning correct so that you don't see the wire frame in the back. Use your pipe cleaners and your floral wire. Feed it through the mesh back to the wire frame and attach. When you initially attach, you want to make sure you attach it loosely until you get it in the correct position, and then you can tighten him down. And I have my sign fully attached. Doesn't that look absolutely beautiful? I am very pleased with the end result. I did get him on nice and sturdy. The only addition that I did is I took and did one curl and just kind of put it underneath the sign to give it a little bit of height so that it was a little bit more even on the wreath. But I'm super happy with that. I really do love that color combination. I think it's absolutely perfect for fall and Thanksgiving. And there you go, we are all done. I have my turkey on. I think he looks rather handsome, and his feathers are absolutely gorgeous. I really do love that color combination. Now I did use one 10-inch roll of each of them. The pattern was only 19 feet long and the jute colored was 10 yards. But it completely filled in this 14-inch wreath and gave our turkey a beautiful set of feathers. And there you go, my top 10 fall wreaths for 2025. Well, it's that time of year to start thinking about fall. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, please leave me a leaf emoji in the comment section below. Also, let me know which one was your favorite. Are you planning on making any of them for yourself this fall? Thank you so much for the visit. You know it's always appreciated. Have a great day, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.